Aphasia by Mark Applebaum was written in 2010. I probably first heard it around 2012, and I was very intrigued. It was the first piece I had ever seen of that nature. Mark Applebaum is a very well-known composer in the percussion world. Beyond Aphasia, he has written percussion duos with one percussionist playing while the other percussionist is doing synchronized gestures, almost very similar to Aphasia. He has works that are quartets of percussionists doing drawing on whiteboards in synchronized gestures, so all manner of theatrical percussion gestures. He employs those quite a bit. So aphasia is an ailment of the brain where a person is unable to either produce speech or comprehend speech due to either brain damage or some kind of brain trauma. I feel like what Applebaum is doing with this piece is he is trying to convey these gestures or these sounds, perhaps from the point of view of someone that has had this ailment happen to them, and the kind of things that go on in their head and the kind of things they're unable to produce because of the ailment. I was immediately fascinated with the piece because so much of percussion is about huge setups of instruments, or just large instruments in general, whether it's in an orchestra, 4 giant timpani drums, or huge multiple percussion pieces that take up half of a stage. But this is the first piece I had ever seen that is just a human body, no instruments. It was actually written for a singer. It's typically performed by percussionists just because it's so rhythmically precise, so rhythmically difficult. And that was what fascinated me, is there's no instruments, which is so contrasting to what we typically do every day and what most people typically think of when they think of percussion. So it took me about 6 months to learn, and within the piece there are almost 100 synchronized gestures, 100 different gestures of just general everyday gestures that if you watch the piece, you'll probably recognize a lot of them. Things like holding a baseball bat or acting like you're Superman flying through the air. Difficulty with the piece was not only synchronizing these gestures to the tape, but also just keeping this huge list of, like I said, nearly 100 gestures, just keeping track of them and learning how to convincingly do them. I feel like, and this is not an uncommon thing in the percussion world, there's a lot of composers for quite a while now who have written what we call theatrical percussion pieces that involve some kind of hand gestures, some kind of vocalizing. I feel like you can add kind of a whole nother dimension of compositional material with the body, with the voice. Especially as percussionists, we're not tethered to, our hands are tethered to sticks and mallets some of the times, but like a woodwind player or brass player, we can vocalize, we can do a lot with our bodily gestures. Is aphasia an electroacoustic piece? It's a tough question because typically I think of electroacoustic pieces as the combination of electronic music and acoustic instruments. So you could make the argument that I'm using my body, which is an acoustic instrument, but I'm not actually creating any sound. I'm just doing synchronized gestures to an electronic track. So I wouldn't really consider this an electroacoustic piece. I would maybe call it more of a performance art piece, or maybe a theatrical gestural piece is maybe a better word. My name is Aaron Graham. I'm a percussionist and a composer and a Music on Main, Emerge on Main concert artist.